Good morning and welcome in. I'm Rhonda Holt with Thrive Mortgage, and we are here on this wonderful Saturday, June 10th, and we are in the studio with Mary White. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Rhonda. Good morning.
Good morning. And we've been having great weather lately, and we just, we just are coming out of celebrating June 6th, which is the D-Day Operation Overlord from 1944, and celebrating our veterans. And we're so thankful for what our active duty veterans and retired veterans have done or do for us in the country. And we want to talk about that today. So, in talking about veterans, and before we get into the veterans segment, I want to talk about stats for May of this year as far as homes are concerned. And I was looking at some statistics from May of this year, 2023, compared to 2022. So inventory-wise, we are up from last year.
So more houses.
More houses, yeah. And a lot of people wouldn't say that, though. If you're out shopping for a house, they were like, there are no houses. But there are more houses than there were last year, which is good. As far as home sales, sold homes from last year, we are a little down. We're down by 14%. And, oh, by the way, we have, in May, there were 359 in the Lynchburg area market, 359 homes that came on the market. Days on the market. So we're about neck and neck. Last year, the average days on the market for a home to sell was 19. We're at 18, so we're right there. So, and in some homes, if it's a really great, a well-desired neighborhood, or the home at a great price, it may stay on for 24 hours. Not even that before it gets offers on it. So average sales price right now is a little bit less than it was this time last year, and we're down to $291,229. That's the average sales price in the Lynchburg area, Virginia market. So with all that said, I think now is the right time to buy. And the one thing that I would say is that if you're looking to buy a home, you definitely don't want to wait till next year, because if you wait till next year, the thing about it is homes, we've said this before, rates may be a little bit lower. We do not know, but rates may be lower. If you're waiting till rates go down, there's going to be even more stiff competition in this market. And we're going to see houses that are selling for more than list price, kind of like we were about a year or so ago. So now is the right time to buy. I want to get into talking about VA loans. VA loans are so important to me. I think out of all the loans that we do, I love working with first-time home buyers. I love working with investors, but VA, the veterans, I love working with. And I just like them because I think that the VA itself has a lot of great programs that they do offer veterans, people that are trying to get into a home. And they are a little bit lenient when it comes to debt versus income, especially if you have a lot of debt and you want to buy a home. They kind of overlook that a little bit. They're kind of, give you more expanded criteria, we should say, to be able to get into a home, more relaxed than other types of programs. This particular loan benefit is no down payment. That's the biggest thing. No down payment is required. And, there are some lenders out there that may require a down payment of some kind, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit, how that works. But competitively, we have lower interest rates than most loans, and they're limited closing cost. And when I say limited closing cost, there are, for example, certain fees that a veteran can pay and cannot pay. And the one thing that I want to reiterate with Thrive Mortgage is that what we do for our veterans as a way of giving back is that we do not charge any lender fees to do a veteran loan, a VA loan. So normally you would have lender fees as part of your closing cost. And we've talked about closing costs from time to time, and you're going to have your title company fees, your recording costs for the clerk of court, state of Virginia, but we're not going to charge you those lender costs, and that could save you upwards up to $1,900 in closing cost. So if you can ask for the seller to pay the rest of the closing cost, or you can somehow offer, when you ask the seller, you might have to offer more than list price to get the seller to pay, or you could come up with the rest of them from a gift from a relative, domestic partner, or long-term friend, or you could come up with it yourself. But we're going to lower those for you right off the bat by having no lender cost. And this is the only program that's out there like that, is the fact that this particular loan, the VA loan, does not have private mortgage insurance. And if you're not putting money down in a situation, in most all other loan program situations, you're going to have private mortgage insurance. And it can vary depending on your credit score. It could, your down payment, so forth, but you're not going to have any private mortgage insurance with a VA loan. So only thing you're going to be responsible for is your principal and interest payment, your taxes, and your homeowner's insurance or hazard insurance, and that's it. So that would be your monthly payment. That's going to save you a ton of money. The VA home loan is a lifetime benefit, and you can use it multiple times. It's a guarantee that doesn't go away. You can use it and it kind of replenishes itself. That makes sense. We pull, a certificate of eligibility to see if you're eligible based on your social security number, your date of birth, name, so forth. And that determines if you're eligible. You're listening to Rhonda Holt, and we're here talking about VA loans today and how we can help so many people that may qualify for this benefit.
I have a question. Are they, to qualify for a VA loan, can you be the spouse of a veteran? That's a good point. Yes, these are the people that are eligible. Okay. So your active duty service members and veterans with discharges other than dishonorable, National Guard and Reserve service members and veterans with an honorable discharge, certain eligible spouses, and other uninformed service personnel may be eligible for a VA home loan guarantee benefits. Now, when talking about spouses, if you're unremarried surviving spouse of a veteran who died in active service or from a service-connected disability, then you would qualify. Service members with proposed or memorandum rating from VA prior to loan closing and so forth, you could get awarded the certificate of eligibility. Also, I know that evidence of having been awarded the Purple Heart, all of those, there's so many other candidates for this program. I just had one recently, and he's been in the Army for some time. Awesome gentleman, had the pleasure of working with him. And he did not have a certificate eligibility, and he hasn't been discharged yet because he's kind of still in there, and he's working in the reserves too. And but we filed a form with the VA with some provided documentation from him as to he's served for a long time. And they were able to give him a certificate of eligibility. So he got a VA loan, and we just closed on it. So he had awesome. For an active duty?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that somebody who's active duty would still need a house as well. Okay.
Right. So you can certainly, there are ways to qualify for this particular program. And I think that, of course, you must be able to afford the home and the property, must appraise for at least the purchase price, and so forth. So one thing that is a big misconception about the VA loans is the fact that if I have a home and it's still under the VA, I've purchased it maybe in Florida and it's under VA. Can I buy another home, sell this one? Can I still get my VA benefit? Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. I have a situation now, and this can happen to you. If you've used your VA benefit and you're planning on selling that home, maybe it's listed up for sale, you can buy another home, say in another state, whatever, and you can get that home and use your eligibility. Now, there's a calculation that I use to see if you might have to put a little down payment down because you're having two loans at once kind of thing. You haven't gotten rid of the other one yet. And in most cases, it's very minimal. Okay. We look at the county loan limits to be able to see if we can, and it's what's called a subsequent use. So we look at those county loan limits to see if there is a minimal down payment that you need to put. I would say that reusing your VA loan benefits, restoring any, so for example, if you used it 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever, and you sold the house, got rid of it, and you want to try to do it again, your entitlement is there. It's not taken away from you. So you can always, as long as you did not default on the loan or something like that nature, you can always get that reinstated. And I would say that one of the things that we're talking about down payments, and I get this question a lot too, is the fact that if you are married to your significant other, domestic partner, whatever, as long as you're married, there's no down payment. But if you have a veteran situation and you want to say add your fiance, add your boyfriend, girlfriend, just a partner, and you're not legally married, there is a situation where you're probably going to need a down payment. It's not the veteran that needs the down payment, but it's like that other person that's on the loan that might be contributing to that income. They're the ones going to have to bring the down payment. So maybe in that situation, we'd say, okay, let's maybe just look at the veteran alone so we can get no money down, or we may have to go a different loan route, to make it more affordable for people. So there is a situation where if you are disabled, a disabled vet, even 10% disability, you're able to not have to pay a funding fee because the VA does charge a funding fee to do the loan. You don't have to pay it out of pocket. It's calculated in your closing costs, but you don't have to bring it to closing, but it's added on top of your loan. VA loans, I think, are the most wonderful loans for veterans, active duty, retired veterans. I even had a situation years ago because to get a VA loan, you need a certificate of eligibility. You need to have an honorable discharge. And if we can't find, sometimes VA will come back and say, I don't have that on record. We'll pursue it a little bit further. We might have to get some documentation from the veteran or the active duty person, whatever, and then send it to VA and they do their research and they find it. I remember a situation years ago where I had a veteran and he was, I want to say he did serve in 1944, I want to say, and we couldn't find his certificate of eligibility. I actually called around to the local a local VA office at the time was in Blackstone. I don't even know if it's still there. And a man there that worked there, veteran, he actually found his certificate or whatever on microfiche. Can you imagine? So he spent days and weeks and he actually found it on microfiche. So, that was great because, we were able to get him a VA loan. We were talking about how with VA loans, you do not put a down payment down. You do not have to have a down payment. Your credit score typically should go down to no less than 620. They kind of want to see where a 620 credit score. I have seen some variations on that. And the debt versus income, meaning, what you currently have in debt, including your new payment, that can vary because they are very lenient on that piece of it. So we'll put it all together and make sure to see if we can get it to work. You do not have private mortgage insurance either, which is awesome. if we talked about funding fees, you won't have to pay a VA funding fee if any of these descriptions are true for you. For example, if you're receiving a VA compensation for a service-connected disability, or you're eligible to receive VA compensation for service-connected disability, but you're receiving retirement or active duty pay instead. If you're receiving dependency, you're receiving, or as a surviving spouse, if you're a service member who has received a proposed or memorandum rating before the loan closing date, Purple Heart, those are situations where you won't have to pay a VA funding fee. The VA funding fee, for example, ranges on your first use. When you're buying a house, your funding fee with no down payment is going to be 2.15%. That's of the purchase price of the house. That funding fee, again, you do not have to pay it out of pocket. It is added to your loan balance, but it's calculated. We disclose it, of course. If you end up putting down payment, it could be less than that.
Mm-hmm.
After your first use, so after you have bought your first home, you're going on to your second one, let's say subsequent use with no down payment is 3.3%. And that's to help with them being able to continue the program for everyone out there that qualifies, and to not have any mortgage insurance and not have to worry about a down payment. So it is definitely a great program to have. But if you are looking at, you have any type of the items that we described, then you won't have any funding fee whatsoever. So if your house that you're purchasing is $200,000, then in fact it will be $200,000 will be your loan amount. You won't have any funding fee added to it. But it's always great to have that particular avenue if you are a veteran or active duty and so forth. You can also do a refinance, a VA-backed cash-out refinance. And the reason why I like it is because it is for veterans, active duty service members, National Guard and Reserve members, and you can take out up to 100% of the equity in your home. For example, if your home is worth $300,000 and you owe $200,000, you could take that $100,000 out to pay off debt, to do home improvement, to pay medical bills, and whatever you want to do with it.
Very good.
Yeah, so it's the only program out there that would allow you to get up to 100% of the equity out of your house. So again, if you do that, there is some funding fees attached to it, unless you are, not in a position, or I should say, will not have to pay the funding fee. There's one particular program called an IRRRL, IRRRL, if any more acronyms. And you to be eligible for the IRRRL, you already have to have a VA-backed home loan, so you already have to be in it. You're using the IRRRL to refinance your existing VA-backed home loan, and you can certify that you currently live in or used to live in the home covered by the loan. So if you don't already have a VA loan, but you want to you're a veteran or you qualify, you could do a cash out refinance, but it won't be an IRRRL. And without getting into that, IRRRL gives you some flexibility where you might not have to have appraisal and so forth, but that is a wonderful way to get a lower monthly mortgage payment and keep your interest rate low. And if you're getting a VA loan right now, and say if you feel like it's high, the interest rate is higher than normal, then you can certainly, when it's time and to refinance, we can certainly refinance it into an IRRRL, using an IRRRL program, and get a lower interest rate and a lower monthly payment. Or if you don't have a VA loan right now, you didn't take advantage of it before, we can certainly do a cash out refinance. And that would certainly help you get money out that you might need. So as far as VA loans are concerned, I would say that if you haven't taken advantage and if you'd like to know more information about the benefit, that's something that we talk about regularly on our social media, and we also have videos talking about VA loans, and this could help you get into the next house. It's very simple to apply. If you're not able to do it on our platforms that we have, we can certainly take the application one-on-one. You can meet with me, or we can certainly take it over the phone to help you out. And I would say that you would be able to easily get into a home and use that VA benefit with low interest rate, no down payment, and no private mortgage insurance.
And you can do these a fairly quickly turnaround?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Once we get the house appraised and once we get the title work, we can close those typically within 30 days. We've closed them sooner, but very quick turnaround. And there are a lot of also realtors out there that are actually veterans that some of the people prefer to work with. So we could certainly get you hooked up with a great realtor as well. New House on the Block today is presented by Dan Frazier. He's the realtor at John Stewart Walker, and he has a beautiful new listing. It's found at 3610 Manton Drive in Lynchburg. It features 4 bedrooms, 3.5 updated bathrooms, and a modern kitchen that opens into a cozy den with a fireplace. 3150 square feet, $464,900. And I would say that Dan Frazier is a great realtor that I work with. He's been in the business for a long time. You can actually go to the John Stewart Walker website, see the house, see the listing. It's beautifully, beautifully furnished. And check it out, because this is something that would be great for someone that's moving from a smaller home that wants to upgrade. And anytime that you guys want to look at applying for a mortgage or even checking out the VA possibilities, you can always reach me by phone at 434-221-6361. You can visit my website at theloanmaven.com. And if you miss one of Mary in our episodes, you can always check us out on my YouTube channel, which is The Loan Maven. And please subscribe and like our videos. We would appreciate that. And we will be back next week talking about all things mortgage. Hope you all have a great week. See you then.